Well, good morning. I am here uh, in my what I call my info center. I am a, I guess I am a nut for news to try to stay up on everything that's going on, to make informed decisions for myself, for my family, and in most cases for my community, and for the organization I represent, the Toledo Buffalo Soldiers, which is part of the national. Anyway, I just wanted to make this video to kind of talk about the madness that I see that's going on here around the country simply because of an election. And some people didn't get the person into the presidency that they wanted, Mrs. Clinton, and some people did get their candidate in, which is Trump, as our next president. I can say this, regards to who the next president would have been or would be, and it's going to be President-elect Trump. I will support them 100% for sure. That's just the kind of military thing that's in me, as well as my police background and homeland security background, and so forth and so on. What's done is done. I've heard from people on my Facebook page. I've had calls this morning of people talking about leaving the country. Well, all I have to say is that just leave me your address. I'll make a visit. It'll be one more place I can ride my Harley to for sure. I've heard people talk about the electoral process. We need to get rid of that process, and you should be careful of what you wish for, because that process does make it fair across the country for those states that have a lot less people or voters than other states, and to make that process balanced and fair. Without that electoral process, then large states such as California, Texas, and other large states, Michigan, would kind of sway votes their way and kind of impose their will upon the rest of the country, because a lot of states don't have as many people as they have. So be careful of what you wish for when you talk about that electoral college and how unfair it is. And I'm sure if your person would have won, and I was a Hillary supporter, although I always say I take the lesser of the two evils, and I did support Hillary, is that because you didn't win, because you didn't get your way, don't mean the system is flawed, especially when you talk about the electoral college. So just be careful what you wish for. I would say this, and I posted this morning a couple of times. What are you prepared to do to help your country? What are you prepared to do to help this president, regardless of his past, regardless of what you've heard, all the terrible things that we've all heard about him, and regardless of that, he still was elected through our process, through the American process, to be our president. And I, as one, will support that. And again, as I said this morning, what are you prepared to do to help him? What are you prepared to do other than running your mouth or marching in the street tearing up things? What are you actually prepared to do to make a difference? And I wholeheartedly believe that President-elect Trump didn't think he was going to get elected. I do believe that all the way to the last day, is that he said some things and done some things that a normal person would not have done to be elected. I believe he didn't want to be elected, but he's there now. And so a lot of stuff that he said was no more than campaign rhetoric, as you hear other presidents say when they're in a contest. You heard President Obama said bad things about Hillary. Hillary said bad things about President Obama when they ran against each other. But then now you hear President Obama saying really wonderful things about Hillary, and Hillary saying wonderful things about her president. Well, that's not the way it was when they were running against each other. So that's nothing but campaign rhetoric. So to run around the country and start tearing up things because you didn't get your way, or your person was not elected, is kind of asinine, I would say. And have we really lost our mind to that? That's not going to do anyone any good. If you're going to do any good, let's buckle down, come together, and see what we need to do to make our country inclusive and better for all of us. And rioting and protesting that way is not going to do it at all. I will guarantee you that. It will just cause more headache. It would cause strain on our police department because now the law enforcement will have to go in to handle that. And next thing you know, you'll be complaining about them again as well. And as I have said many times, a lot of times we need to look in the mirror at ourselves. I know during the campaign or the day of election, I was out doing my part. Buffalo Soldiers here in Toledo, we were out doing our part to help people get to the polls. We have taken several people to the polls that couldn't make it, and we done our part to help our person be elected. But that's all you can do. And when at the end of the day, there's winners and there's losers. Both people can't be winners, and both people can't be losers. So we need to buckle up, put our bootstraps, or tie our bootstraps up, so to speak, and get busy in helping this country be better. And that is doing some of the positive things we need to do. So I wanted to at least come on here and talk a little bit about that. I have never made one of these videos that go out onto the airways this way, and just thought that this morning I was going to do that, not just for you, but for myself as well. People, let's come together. We need to come together as a country. Yes, there will always be racism in this country. There will always be people that engage in discriminatory practices. That's always been. But we've came a long way as well. This is not slavery. I've heard some of my friends say, we're going back to slavery. He's going to enslave us. He's going to send us back to Africa. Well, I don't know how I'm going to go back to Africa. I never came from Africa. My ancestors did, but I didn't. I was born in the United States. I served in the United States Army. I served this country. I served as a police officer. Done a wonderful job as a police officer. And still serve today as a law enforcement officer with the Lucas County Sheriff Department with Sheriff Tharp, a guy I have a lot of respect for. And I do a lot of community service, as some of you know. The community service is a part of me. It's a great part of me, and I love doing community service, and I love helping out people. And so as I look onto my various media means, I get disappointed in what I see sometimes, but I'm also encouraged as well. And that encouragement means we have a guy that's in office. Again, I believe this guy, President-elect Trump, didn't think he was going to be elected. Why not take that opportunity to help him be a good president? Because if you continue to feed off of what the media feeds you, and I'm sure the media is having a ball again by portraying us and those people that are against this election, putting you all on the air, having you feed into their influence on you to do the things that you're doing, and you're doing just what they want you to do. Do something positive. And I've heard somebody say, well, how am I going to tell my kids when they woke up yesterday morning that now this guy is the president and he's your president, people. That's all I can tell you. There's going to be no change in that unless there's something wrong with the election. And I have not seen that. He is your president. And it's time for us to support that president. It is. This is your country. And I believe in protest, peaceful protest, if you want to protest things. But what are you doing that's constructive to help make this country or keep this country great? Because the country is, we're not going to make this country great again. It's already great. But what are we going to do to help make this country inclusive of all people the way we want to see it? And we grow a little bit every year, because this is not slavery. Those folks are saying it's going back to slavery. We will never go back to those days at all. And so I'm just saying, I want to encourage everybody to take a look in the mirror, take a look at your own actions. And as you see one post I had this morning, what President Kennedy said, it's not what your country can do for you. What can you do for your country? What can you do for your community? And I'm going to leave that with you, because it's time for me, as you know, to go eat. And I eat a lot. Thank you. Thank you for listening. To those that listen to it, I welcome your comments. I'm sure there'll be good comments and bad comments, but that's okay. That's what this country is made up of. Thank you.